So, are you interested or looking forward to pursue a career in your legal profession? So, what is a legal profession? Legal profession is a profession in which the professionals, the legal professionals, they study, develop, and apply the law. So, in order to become a legal professional, you need to obtain a degree in law and have some form of legal education, BA, BL, bachelor's in law, and all that. So, legal professionals, they come together, they become qualified to practice law. Once they pass out, they become qualified to practice law in various jurisdictions. A lawyer can be classified as an advocate or a government lawyer, attorney, a magistrate, a legal executive, etc. So these are the various roles a person who is into a legal profession would definitely would do. So coming to the astrology part, so what are the planetary combinations which can enable you or propel you to become a very good or a wonderful career in the legal profession? So that there are two planets. One is Jupiter and another is Saturn. Because Jupiter is the planet which tells the morality in the society. Because there are certain moral values that you need to follow in the society. Saturn is the punishment that you get by breaking down these moral things that you are not following. So Saturn is the punishment. Saturn is the rules or the various sections under which you will be punished if you break down the rules of the Jupiter. So this is how Jupiter and Saturn, they play a vital role in a legal profession. So let's see, there are some intricate rules in astrology which makes a person go into a legal profession and become great at it. So let's look into some of the combinations. I'm sharing my screen. So there will be a chart that will be coming. Okay. Now you are seeing a chart. This chart is an example of a judge. So what is most important, as I said, Jupiter and Saturn. This is an example of a Leo ascendant. So you always count the number of houses from the ascendant. And you also need to see the houses from the moon also. So let's look at the ascendant. So this is a Leo ascendant. And if you can see clearly, the Jupiter is placed in the second house. So from the ascendant, you have the Jupiter placed in the second house. And you have Saturn placed in the sixth house. So Jupiter is in the second house, aspecting the Saturn. So aspecting means basically this Jupiter is seeing the Saturn. Jupiter, every planet has got a vision. Okay, it's basically a vision. So Jupiter is aspecting the Saturn, and Jupiter is aspecting the 10th house, which is Ketu. So Ketu, you don't have to worry about what Ketu is. Ketu is basically a shadow planet. Okay, so Jupiter is aspecting the 10th house. Jupiter is in the 10th house. Okay, this is from the ascendant. When you see from the moon, take moon as the first house. So moon is aspected by Saturn. Moon is the second house from the moon. Second house from the moon is aspected by Saturn. Saturn would directly see. And the Saturn would also aspect the third house. Saturn would also aspect the 10th house from the moon. If I can indicate it clearly for you, Saturn aspects this house, and Saturn also aspects this house. Okay, so the rule is your Jupiter and Saturn has to be connected to the second and 10th house from the ascendant as well as from the moon. Okay, your Jupiter and Saturn has to be connected to the 10th house and the second house from the ascendant and also from the moon. Going by this rule, if you see Jupiter is in the second house, aspecting the 10th house. So this is from the ascendant. Jupiter is in the second house from the ascendant, aspecting the 10th house here. So Jupiter is qualifying. So you can put a tick mark for Jupiter. Now, we have to look at Saturn. From the ascendant, Saturn is in the sixth house. But Saturn receives the aspect of Jupiter, and Saturn in turn aspects the second house from the moon. Saturn aspects the second house from the moon. Saturn aspects the 10th house from the moon. Okay. Whereas Jupiter also aspects the 10th house from the moon. If you see Jupiter also aspects the 10th house from the moon. But Saturn does not aspect any house from the second or 10th house. So see, Saturn is just aspecting the 12th house from the Saturn is not connected to your either second house or 10th house from the ascendant. Saturn is connecting to the moon. From the moon and from the moon, second house and 10th house, Saturn is getting connected. But from the ascendant, Jupiter is only connected. Okay. So this could be confusing. Whichever planet is strongly connected to 10th house from the ascendant and from the moon. So that planet plays a vital role. So Jupiter takes the little higher priority over Saturn here. Okay. So Saturn makes a person work as a lawyer. Jupiter makes a person work as a judge. So judge professions, you will not become a judge overnight. So you will start like somewhere in the magistrate court, okay, magistrate assistant. You slowly climb up the ladder. So this person becomes a judge ultimately. Everybody is not going to be a judge anyway. So this person would become a judge. Okay, this person is already working in the magistrate court for your information. So this person would become a judge because strong connection of Jupiter to the 10th house when compared to Saturn makes a person work in a legal profession. However, the role of Saturn is also necessary. So Jupiter and Saturn both play a vital role in the legal profession. And whichever planet is connecting to the 10th house more becomes, you can subdivide. In the legal profession, are you a lawyer or you're becoming a judge? So that definition, Jupiter or Saturn will give. Okay, so this is number one horoscope. So we have seen an horoscope of a judge. Let's see an example of a person becoming a lawyer. Okay, so if you look at this horoscope, this person belongs to a Capricorn ascendant. See, Capricorn sign, Capricorn ascendant, and you see Saturn is in the second house and Jupiter is in the fourth house. Okay, let's focus on Jupiter first, then we'll go back to Saturn. So Jupiter in the fourth house from the ascendant is aspecting the 10th house, right? So Jupiter is in the fourth house. It's connecting to the 10th house. Okay. So then there is chances that this person could be in a legal profession. However, we'll confirm that. So Jupiter in the fourth house aspecting the 10th house from the ascendant. From the moon, if you see, from the moon, Jupiter is in the 10th house. From the moon, Jupiter is placed in the 10th house. From the ascendant, Jupiter is aspecting the 10th house. Okay. And Jupiter is also aspects the second house from the moon. Okay. However, the Jupiter is not connected to the second house from the ascendant. Okay. If you see, this Jupiter is aspected by Saturn. So when Jupiter receives the aspect of Saturn, the strength of Jupiter reduces. This you have to keep in mind. Whenever Jupiter should be alone, it should be connected to the 10th house from the ascendant, also from the moon. Okay, that is happening. But Jupiter receives the aspect of Saturn. Aspect of Saturn is always malefic. So when Jupiter receives the aspect of Saturn, Jupiter becomes little weak. Okay, I won't say that yet. So it becomes a little weak. Now let's focus on Saturn. Saturn is in the 10th. Saturn is in the second house from the ascendant. Okay, second house is the house of speech. Okay, and Saturn aspects the 10th house from the moon. Saturn aspects the 10th house from the moon. Saturn also aspects the second house from the moon. Okay. So Saturn is also strongly connected to 10th house here. Saturn is in the second house of speech. Okay. Second house of speech, strongly connected to the 10th house from the moon. Also second house to the moon. Okay. And from the ascendant, it is in the second house, which we already saw. But going by this, if you see all this, okay, Jupiter has become weak. Our Jupiter is connected. Saturn placed in the second house of speech, connecting to second house from the moon. Okay, there are two things. Ascendant, it is second house. From the moon, it is second house. And also aspecting the 10th house from the moon. Okay, this confirms that this person will be in a legal profession. However, he will not be in the position of a judge. He will be a lawyer. Okay, lawyer is the one who speaks a lot, who talks a lot, right? That is very important here because the sign of Capricorn ascendant, this person is born in the ascendant of Saturn, right? So he will have that Saturnian qualities. The Saturn qualities becomes more. And if he is going to be in the legal profession, then why not? When Jupiter is become little weak, then the Saturn takes over and the person becomes a lawyer. So this is how you have to see the horoscopes of a lawyer and a judge. Jupiter and Saturn both need to be connected. Okay, that is very important. Whichever planet is connected more and to the 10th house, that will take control. So this is the example of Jupiter and Saturn. In the last 2 weeks, we have seen like a person, people working in banking sector. Okay, there only Jupiter plays a vital role. Person in the banking sector and person who is working in a teaching field as a professor or a lecturer, there Jupiter takes control. There is no Saturn involvement there. However, if you come to legal profession, Jupiter and Saturn both need to play a role. Okay, so this is how we will be able to segregate people who are working in different profession. You look at horoscope of any lawyer or a judge, this rule would apply 100%. Okay, only difference is that the placement of Jupiter. Jupiter could be sitting in the 4th house and aspect in the 10th house, or Jupiter could be in the 10th house, or Jupiter could be in the 2nd house from the moon, or Jupiter could be in the 6th house aspecting the 10th house. So there are a few things. Again, the Saturn also could be connected to the 2nd as 10th house from the ascendant and the moon. So this is how you will be able to see. The ascendant could be different. So this over the 2nd and 10th house is not going to change. Jupiter and Saturn connection to 2nd and 10th house will make a person always shine in a legal profession. Okay. So that's the end of this video. So if you are interested and if you like to know more about it, or if you want to learn astrology, or if you have any doubts, kindly please do subscribe to this channel and please do leave your valuable comments, and that shall motivate me to do even better. See you.